Dude, this is unreal. He doesn't even take damage. How is he not taking any damage?
Hey guys, it's Kusi. Welcome back to the 7th episode of putting the dragon into Dragonflight in this Zero to Hero pre-Voker edition. In the last episode, we finally stopped increasing the intensity of our headache with unexpected parties and increased our score instead. Not only power farming the desired aspect crests for future crafted items, but also moving up into the 17 bracket, which means hero items are just as common now as tissues in the boys' dorm room. While in this episode, we will take it one step further into the plus 18 keys, which means we try to elevate our upcoming vault with some myth options to choose from. And speaking of vault, that puppy will also be opened later in this episode. But not only that, your boy is about to spoil you, cause we also keep up the score grind when we already step into the following week in which we attempt our first plus 20 of the series. Also, I think I encountered a player that could be very much described as a bot, or at least someone who has a rotation script going. More on that later. So, as you can see, action-packed episode ahead, so make sure to grab yourself a drink, get comfy, and enjoy this next step to become the aspect Alex Strasser will drop on her knees for. Alright, so we ended our last episode on an absolute banging Everbloom 17, which rewarded us with a big amount of joy after the rather rough beginning, as well as an item upgrade in form of a hero headpiece. So, since we are still in the middle of this week, we will continue to grind for glory by stepping into our first plus 18 in the series. Why is this important? Because doing 18s and up means we qualify for the best possible loot in our vault. And to start us off, we have a Black Rogue hold that will gently loop ourselves up in order to make the entry to this new level as smooth as possible. Does that sound too horny?
Yes.
Anyways, a quick reminder, we are playing with Fortified for more difficult trash, Afflicted that will remind us that we aren't doing enough as a healer already, and Raging, which is just unpleasant to say the least. Back to the actual key though, we obviously went with the Lust on Pull when dealing with the first two packs. But because our rogue had a cheeky disconnect right away, this got a lot spicier than I hoped it to be. Pretty sure we also just lacked the focus on those ghostly protectors, which means we often just hit targets that take reduced damage. Yet first boss is still just a joke compared to, well, every other boss in the game, and with that my head was fully ready to deal with the trash towards the second. Cause in combination with the CC immunity they get from Raging, those bastards gonna be something else. And boy, was it something else. The sheer amount of incoming damage with those knife dances and random attacks by the archers, I wasn't having that much fun to be honest. Yet I took this as a solid way to train my muscle memory on spell usage and ensured no one would bite the never mind. On the second boss, I felt like a god tier gamer. You wanna know why? Cause my Shadow Priest here hustled his way out of the I-beam by just moving so much, while I on the other hand 3k main after all. Turns out after the boss came the real struggle. Not only did this rock send our priest back to the next ghost healer, our tank also wasted bubble to survive the rocks. Haters would say this bubble could come handy on the next pull, but he proved all of us wrong by still pulling rather big without the need of the mentioned bubble. What a gamer. The rest of the dungeon went rather eventless, and even though this wasn't a new world record in terms of speedrunning it, I appreciate a normal and just relaxed approach here. But I can hear you ask, what about the first Shadow Bolt volley? That one that hit so hard? Well, let's see. I didn't play it good at all, and I'm sure people would have died on Tyrannical here. Lucky me. Regardless, first myth item in the vault secured, but we also got yet another item for a big upgrade. A shoulder piece which also replaces an LFR version of the tier set. Means we now have all tier set pieces on hero. Happy days. Oh right, I totally forgot to mention the item we crafted somewhere in between the events of last episode. Went for the allied leg guards that occasionally increase the versatility of the party. That sucker cost me over 20k to make. I just hope it's worth it, man. And it didn't even get to max rank. Only 482. Someone cancel that lousy crafter. Next up we got a fan favorite. Okay, I don't know if it's a fan favorite, but it's my favorite. Everbloom on the 19th. And this one got really serious real quick. Why? This dude posted a dungeon tools route. And is it just me that really enjoyed melee DPS a lot more lately? I wonder why that's the case.
Why are you standing over there, you so wank?
Now we pulled big, had lust and cleared it up easy. Yet we had a bit of a setback when accidentally pulling the big derpy stump that just shoved some mother nature into us without even asking for consent. No one left though, big win already. First boss obviously no struggle, but we all know that everything after that part of the dungeon is what it's all about. Big group damage inbound. And boy, did we whip out a solid pull. Granted, the DPS is quite neat, so stuff doesn't live for too long. Hunter still died by being targeted by 2 charges in a row. Unlucky. But after that happened something I can't really explain. Keep in mind, the Hunter is doing fantastic DPS. Always solid about 500k on trash pulls. I rested him after he died, and because the tank pulled the next abomination, he instantly got clapped with another AoE. And then he releases and ran the entire way to the first boss to meet up with us again.
Look at this dude.
What do you reckon? Just a brain fart? Cause I don't believe this is the first time doing this dungeon. At least I hope you don't test things out on a 19 for sure. Confused me a lot. Maybe scripting? Or maybe just a casual, I turn my brain off and just play to chill moment. Regardless, besides some instant deaths due to aggro, we managed to trash towards the council fight quite okay, which was also because this demon hunter was just oozing in self-heal. Leave a like for this demon hunter. Though because of 2 melee, the triple boss was rather easy to handle for me, which is absolutely not what I can say about the triple mage pack before the 3rd boss. Here, because of a rather unpleasant timing with the affix, I wasn't able to properly set up my healing for the big fire AoE. Mainly because I didn't trust in any of the paladin dispelling, so I always felt a bit behind. But if I'm honest, I most likely could have managed it by just playing smarter. That's on me, chief. Yet after killing the Archmage, I thought that this is going down the drain. On Yalnu, the final boss of the dungeon, 2 of our DPS just absolutely ignored the big flower spawn, which meant it lived too long, did too much damage for me to handle, and inflicted going off, and then we ultimately wiped. But hey, still a lot more time to play and we got lost for the next pull. No worries. What did worry me though, was the fact that 2 of us didn't release, meaning I had to rest them before the portal, and our hunter didn't give a flying fuck about that. But confirmed after all? Anyways, he pulled the boss a lot earlier than necessary, which only made the beginning a bit rough, but we still managed to time our first 19 key. This now means we got 2 more 18s to go for, in order to have another myth track item in our vault. So we continue towards Starcard ticket. And you won't see much from here because this key was pretty much how I imagined park runs should go. No issues, no overpulls, rather small and manageable pulls everyone can get behind of. Yes, we only timed it by +1, but no deaths, and it was only 5 seconds over the 2 chest timer. Very pleasant experience, and even though some action is nice, something like this to just relax is always appreciated. And luckily, I needed this change of pace, cause the next dungeon, the final one of this week, is a Tal Dazad that, if you remember, didn't go too well in the last episode.
Oh, hell no, man. What?
To be fair, this time my tank told me what he wants to do. Pull 3 to the left and go to the middle. But I was not quite expecting this. We pretty much had one ongoing chain pull till 40% trash. I, for real, have not been a part of anything like this. And then we just casually jumped down to Razan like it's the most normal thing to do. Wild stuff. The next pull again was a lot to deal with. Triple pack pull on the plague side had my asshole tight for a few minutes, and even though we had an afflicted going off, we still didn't fully wipe. Yet I like that the tank didn't trash anyone and just kept it cool. Clearly he has a bigger picture in mind, and often those types of players are very cocky. He was chill. The rest of the run went really nicely, which led to a comfy 5-minute timer for only the last boss to 2-chest this one. And even though this run was rather stressful for me on multiple pulls, I feel like if I expected those to happen, it could have been a lot smoother. I mean, both the first pull and the first plague area pull got delayed since I either died myself or let others die. Next time I got them for sure. Yet with this extra 77 rating, to an overall amount of 2341, we end our 3rd week of Mythic Plus. 160 away from KSH, not too bad I'd say. Also by finishing this dungeon we achieved our goal of having 2 myth track choices in our vault, so you best believe I was horny for that. So on reset I ignored everything else and went right ahead to the promised big loot. I also ignored the weekly event, which is just time walking again, but we are past normal items I reckon. And this was horrible. What a boring vault. Don't get me wrong, good item level upgrade, but just boring. I don't need the legs, cause we got the crafted ones we paid 20k for, so there's no way I will swap those, and we don't need a hero offhand. So hands to this. Hard to get excited in the future if the vault doesn't have any biz items in it like on the Feral, am I right? Now, because we did some dungeons, we gathered enough aspects to get another crafted item, and I decided to go for the Elemental Lariat. Why? Cause why not? Also, this is now the week where those new buffs are in place. Granted, they are not big or life-changing at all, but hey, we take it. And with that, a new week of Mythic Plus begins. A really easy one when it comes to affixes. We obviously got Tyrannical back in the mix, since Fortified was last week, as well as Sanguine, which is none of our concern as a healer, and Volcanic, which can be a bit annoying, especially when we are the only ranged players in the party. But, like I said, easy regardless, and so we continue to put ourselves into the danger zone that is Puck City, which starts this week with an 18 Gallocrons. And yes, we absolutely are going for only 18s at this point. Next vault has to be a banger for sure. And I don't know about you, but as a healer, I find Tyrannical really refreshing. At least on bosses, you know when to expect damage incoming. On Trash, this can go up and down like a roller coaster. Well, unless you do dumb shit like I do, then bosses can get extra spicy too. Whee! Luckily, this was the only time my dirt nap addiction got the best of me, and this run heavily implied we are going to 3-chest this puppy with ease. Yet, Iridicron had a different thing in mind. We lost 2 people in the very first Earth Search. Pretty sure that has never happened before in any of my runs, but only rest one of them. Now, I'm not sure how many we had, but we only used our second CR of the run here. And boy, was I worried about the barrage. However, we actually did survive it as a 4-man party. I even used Zephyr to minimize area of effect damage taken. You proud of me, guys? I finally did it. Yet because we were missing 1 DPS, we still had to play the barrage at least one more time. And in this one, I was not able to heal it proper. I actually was confused that it hurts this much, but then the Warlock told us that he wasn't there, which makes more sense. Second pull we had Lust to use and we played it a lot better. Still a solid 2-chest, a happy cozy, and I even got a weapon from the run. You don't believe me? Unlucky. But I felt spicy and I was hungry for more keys. So we go ahead to do yet another Everbloom, but on Tyrannical this time. I was excited about this one, mainly for those boss fights. Though the second boss became hilariously easy for me to manage because we had 3 melee DPS, meaning they are always in range. Yet this meant all Volcanics go on me, which is a bit annoying on Trash Balls. But what did get spicy was the Archmage. Again, since I was the only range, betting the Arcane Orb was my duty, and I really underestimated the damage incoming by the Cinderbolt Storm. I also almost died on the boss because I somehow toggled RP Walk in the middle of the fight and used Hover in the panic. No idea how that happened, to be honest. But no one died, that is most important for me, and so we got the final boss to deal with. Here I really tried to prep in my head in which order I will use my cooldowns to survive the big flower. My only worry was that I may have to use a second cooldown to help out. Unfortunately, the timer on stasis doesn't work out here proper, so it makes sense to charge it up when the flower spawns for the first incoming damage and then reuse it maybe before a stomp hits. On the second flower I used our funny little trinket, which I still have on a trashy item level, but I really bounded with this little sucker. Really cool tool to use for some quick burst party healing for sure. Because of those pumpers, that was it, and we 3-chested this puppy to receive yet another weapon. Would have been nice if we didn't get one from the vault for sure. Now, so far this week has been a blessing. Most deaths on the run that were not part of a full wipe were because of me. And quite honestly, I like that a lot more. But before we end this episode, we got one more key to go for. A big one. An attempt to pretty much finish 1/8 of this challenge. Murason's Rise. One of those keys I'm not the biggest fan of, but also one of those keys where killing the first boss clean will almost ensure victory. But I was still a bit worried. First of all, I think this might be the first prot warrior I heal in this series. Maybe I had one in lower keys, but I cannot remember. Second of all, I checked this item level afterwards and apparently it is 453. Yes, 453. And he said he will just go and quickly get 4 set. Man, I was so ready to leave this. But then I saw his score from earlier seasons. He was a 3k gamer in season 1 with this character and his current main is 3600. So I was absolutely hauling to find out how good this dude is. And he was so good that I totally forgot to record the first part of the dungeon. But before you say anything, no, I was not the one who put the 1 on the death count. I think our warlock took Tyr's frontal face first for that one. Yet I can hear you ask, Kusi, how good was this tank? And I can honestly say, he was insane. He barely took any damage, rocking insane amount of self-heal with pretty much just ignore pain alone. Even last week on Fortified I had tank spike on Morty's frontal, he didn't even flinch. And no, he did not use spell reflect there. This dude was on another level of player and I don't even want to know what he does on a character that's geared. He even was chill too, and I could tell he means business when I asked him about Bloodlust usage when we started. And he just said, first pull of course, so we can use it more often. Min-maxer by heart. After Morty, the entire party did a tactical release jutsu, which wasn't planned, but worked afterwards.
Bye, have a great time!
Also, I'm quite happy that I bought some invis potions the other day, otherwise I would have panicked a lot here to skip trash, while they just did it so effortlessly. Now, even though our lovely warlock stayed close to the melee on the battlefield boss fight, I still had my fair share of issues to heal this proper. What didn't help though, was the amount of Bladestorm damage taken by some of the party members. But in the end we managed it, thus only the last boss remains, and boy do we look good on the timer. I took the time to praise this insane gamer for his warrior gameplay. Keep in mind, again, 453 item level. It's insane. And this was his answer. Boy would I pay money to see his Demon Hunter, man. Alright, so last boss fight. Since we don't got Afflicted to play around anymore, we can just dispel whenever we got it ready. Which helps a lot. And even though we lost our Paladin when phase 2 was about to drop, which was really unfortunate since he had bubble ready to use, we still managed to finish this comfortable with over 3 minutes to go. 67 score as well for this puppy, and this session went so well I almost didn't want to stop. But this is where we will end this 7th episode of our series, an item level of 471 and a dungeon score of 2445 with already 35 dungeons done. Man, I need to rethink some of my life choices. Yet this turned out to be incredibly fun. I think the only real stressful thing about healer is leaving the comfort zone to actually do it. Well, besides those few keys where the entire party is just out to get you. And who knows, considering the rather simple affixes, this could be the week to end the challenge already. So tune in next episode to find out. But again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I wish you the most fantastic day whenever you see this. Until I catch you in the next one. Take care.